right? This is your core of your being. This is who you are. Let's start here. I didn't have that. You didn't have that, which makes it more frustrating. Because, Mom, we're here. What is the average person here? 65, 70 years? Let's call it that, right? 65, 70 years. And being born in as a Jehovah's Witness, I've already lost 20 years because of what you've taught me. So take off 20 years off of that 65, and I got 45 years. Oh, wait, depending on your learning curve, now you got to start the process of unlearning all this stuff. And the time for me has been 10 years of unlearning all this stuff. So now I'm 30 years into my 65 years. You think this sounds ridiculous? Get online, get on YouTube, and see how many people in their 60s and 70s are just coming out. We're upset about the time lost, the time they cost us, Mom and Dad. And going back, when you don't know who you are, you're susceptible to anything. Anything. Once I went to a roller skating rink. I was 21 years old, so I'm really fresh out of the house, a couple of years. And I remember a friend of mine, we were just sitting there talking, and I was leaned up against the table. And I look young for my age, and I'm not saying that in a bragging way. I just do, right? So I was sitting on the table, we were just talking, at our skates, and one of the authoritarian personalities of the ring came, don't sit on the table and going off talking crazy. Go sit over there in the corner, right? Because I look like a kid to him. And you know what's worse? Is I went over there and I did it. Sat right in that corner, doing what I'm told, just like the Jehovah's Witness raised us. And I remember my friend looking at me like, you stupid. What's wrong with you? Humiliating. Broken spirits do stuff like that. Otherwise, I'd have said, man, you better get out of here. Better touch the gravel, kick rocks. But I was fresh out of the poison, doing what I'm told. Because I don't know, I don't have the ability and authority to tell him to get lost. I'm 21 years old. What you talking about? I have tons of examples like this. And then it gives people the wrong idea about you because they don't know what you've been through, what you're going through at the house. They don't know. So they're looking at you like you're weak or you're something that you're not. It's just, I don't know. And I remember I would always look at this dude like, hey, man, help me understand this stuff that's going on out here. We actually had a discussion, and I forgot what we were talking about. I said, listen, man, you're older than me. And he looked at me like, whatever. And I'm talking about up here in your mind. And he understood that. And after that, he would show me things. Show me how to maneuver in all these different environments I shouldn't have been in the first place. But like I told you, you're a blank canvas for trouble when you come from the Jehovah's Witness background. And the other traumas on top of that. And he started to show me things. Because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know my strength. When I say that, I didn't know my strength, my core as a young man. It took years for all that stuff to come flooding back. I didn't know how to say no. That's a huge problem for people who are traumatized. They don't know how to say no. Because they're used to getting run over, and the religion sets you up for that. And it doesn't always have to be the religion. Whatever your trauma was, right? Those barriers, those boundaries were broken. Look at all these people that you see let all this horrible stuff happen to them. You start to dig up their background, you'll find out their barriers, especially sexually, people who've been sexually abused, their barriers are broken to where they don't even have any. Some of them turn into people pleasers just to keep the peace. You heard me? I didn't know who I was. My friends who grew up, they didn't know who they were either. Got into all kinds of trouble. Yeah, let's just do that. Yeah, let's go, I don't want to say, but doing things that they shouldn't have been doing and paid a heavy 5-year price for it. You hear me? 5 years and 6 years respectively. Paid a heavy price, and they ain't been the same since. I couldn't even deal with them once they finished their vacation. I couldn't deal with them because of the things that they picked up while they were on vacation. I had to walk away. We actually had a fight, like a literal fight, where it didn't end well for him. All because they didn't know who they were. We didn't know who we were. The weed smoking, the drinking, trying to cover up that loss. But the worst part about it is, I think a lot of people know why they smoke and why they drink. We didn't. We didn't know we were trying to cover up something. I mean, we would get blazed, loaded. One time, we were so disconnected from reality. And it's actually happened a couple of times. And if you remember, that's what the gentleman mentioned, the doctor mentioned. Dr. Shore said that there's a disassociation that happens. And we were so disconnected from reality that we were driving around drinking, and the police pulled us over. And I don't know, to this day, I don't know, it wasn't like they had another call, it wasn't like they had another deal. Maybe they're just looking for somebody specific. But the sheriff pulled us over. We got all the whole case of beer. We was drinking before we even got in the car, doing dumb stuff. And they pulled us over, took us out, roughed us up a little bit. And honestly, the only thing I could think of is a lot of it was just pity for us. You know what I mean? Because we all looked silly. I remember the scene like it was yesterday. We all looked just silly looking up at them. And they let us go. Let us keep the beer in the car. Maybe they wanted us to kill ourselves. I don't know. Because we would have no connection to ourselves to have better sense. We didn't have a compass. Our compass was ruined as a fetus. They were born in too, just like me. I can't tell you how many times we've just driven and gotten in so much trouble. I'd take the rest of the podcast doing that. I don't want to do that. I'm trying to get you to see. We didn't know who we were. We didn't have our intestinal fortitude because we got this hole, this drinking, this smoking, these women. Right? Men give women a hard time when they're loose. Men are, have the same issue. Because if we straight, we're not doing that anyway. Straight meaning if we're okay, if we're together in our heads and our hearts, if we don't have any holes in our body, in our spirit. We're not even entertaining those kind of women. I can't even do that at this stage of my life. I can't even entertain that kind of woman because now I know who I am. We're gonna get to that in a little bit. But the drinking was outrageous. But now I won't even touch it. I won't even look at it. Because once I found out that Jehovah's Witnesses, when they become adults, those who are born in, a lot of them fall into alcoholism, I quit cold turkey. You know what I'm saying? I just quit. It's a couple of years ago. I just quit. Because I said in my head, they are not going to send me out like that. They're not. They're not going to ruin every part of my life. They're not going to do that. And it was a shock to me to even know that was a thing. I think I did a podcast about this before. That alcoholism is running rampant in the Jehovah's Witness organization. To deal with the depression, to deal with the brokenness, to deal with the empty, nothing feeling inside like we all grew up with. That's the only reason. Let me not say that. But they have to deal with it. And I didn't know that. Just the other day, I went over to my sister's house. And she has 2 kids. They're grown now, right? They still live at home, but they're grown. And I went in there, and I thought, what a cruel joke. Universe plays on me, right? I went over there, and all of the kitchen counters were filled with bottles of alcohol. I've never seen this at her house. And I just thought, I didn't even say anything to her. You know what I mean? I just was like, okay, I guess it's tough around here. You know what I mean? And then I start going back in the Rolodex of my mind and start thinking about all the brothers, all the elders. My sister's first husband, stone drunk alcoholic. His dad, stone drunk alcoholic. My dad used to sip, but I ain't never seen my dad drunk. Ever. Everybody was drinking in the Kingdom Hall. When you look back on it, everybody was drinking. When I think about the get-togethers we used to have, the gatherings, that's what they used to call them, there was always alcohol there. Now, is it cool to drink socially? Yeah, man. I'm not finna sit here and tell you what to do with your business. That's you. I'm just saying that's part of this poison, what this poison does to you. The Jehovah's Witness poison. You hear me, governing body? Trying to cover up that hole, that not knowing, that, all that stuff sounds cliche when it's not time, when you're not ready to hear it. But when you're ready to hear it and you're ready to make that shift in your life, that stuff doesn't sound so cliche anymore. You're like, oh, snap. You know what I mean? Who are we? Who am I? Who was I? I don't know. I didn't know. And that is the worst feeling in the world, to go through life and not know who the fuck you are. You're not going to accomplish nothing that way. Nothing. That's why you see part of the reason people start and stop, because they don't know. When you know who you are, you complete stuff. You're going to complete your test. You're going to complete the job. You're going to complete whatever it is you need to do when you're solid in who you are. When you don't know, you're going to start school and stop. When you don't know, you're going to go to job to job to job. When you don't know, you're going to start a business and let it down. You're going to start a business and give it away. You're going to start a business and let it go. I'm guilty of all those things. Trauma is a beast. Emotional trauma is a beast. And I'm still a human, right? And I still despise that upbringing. I still despise it because it just took so much of you internally. Forget all the other stuff. It took so much from you internally. I don't know who I am. And when you don't know who you are, it's like I told you last week, the snakes and the vultures come out because they can pick up on it. It's saddening, It's saddening that these people in their brokenness can see yours and want to just add to it. It's really sad, and you have to start looking at Jehovah a different way, and Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, and Saint Mary, and Saint Peter. All this stuff people believe in. It's like, what's happening? How come all you offering is negativity? Why do we always have to pray to you, and you never show up? You never showed up to stop the thing, but now you're gonna get us out of it. So you create the evil and the good, and you're playing both sides. Come on, man. Nobody's coming. Nobody's coming, y'all. Current Jehovah's Witnesses, nobody is ever going to fly out of the sky and save you. It sounds ridiculous when I say it. You know why? Because it is. Quite frankly, if you knew who you were, you wouldn't believe in any of that stuff in the first place. When I was in, even though I never believed any of it, when I would see or hear other people who don't believe in God and don't believe in Jesus, and I would think like, man, them people screwed up. I didn't know that they were confident in who they were because they were raised, quote unquote, the right way. They were given the things that they needed to be confident and secure in themselves. That's why they don't have all these hang-ups that we do. I used to think when I was living at home that something wrong with these people. And now that I'm out, I just realized they had a different program. Their mom gave them something different in her uterus, in her belly, in her womb. She gave them a different, more productive program. That's why they know who they are. That's why they can accomplish. That's why you haven't. Not to say that you won't, but until you get this part, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Nothing is going to happen looking outside. Nothing is going to happen looking to Jehovah. Nothing you want is going to happen looking to Jesus, the Holy Spirit, Mary, whatever other deities are out there. Everything comes from inside of you. That's why you need to know who you are. Even in high school, when it came down to just dressing, I just did what everybody else was doing because I didn't have no style of my own. And I didn't like the style. Y'all remember the 90s, right? In high school, and it was polka dot shirts and, rayon pants. You know what I'm saying? Nah,